Free Thought Project is reporting on a DEA agent named Bill Furay and his record in his job. They say the following: he styled himself the scourge of drug dealers, becoming a familiar presence at triumphant DEA press conferences, announcing mass arrests and seizures of contraband and proceeds. He was part of Operation Blood Loss in 2009 and Operation Agent Orange. I love to meet the guy that names these things. In June 2010, which was a gigantic drug bust. It was called the United Nations of Drug Trafficking, which is what they busted. And it spanned multiple countries and was a complex network that they took down. So this guy was fairly accomplished, and it was all fun and games for him until his daughter Sarah was caught pushing. They say, quote, police found 31.5 grams of packaged cocaine, 126 grams of high-grade marijuana, 29 ecstasy tablets, methamphetamine, and 60 doses of a drug similar to LSD in Sarah Furay's bedroom. They also reported finding 2 digital scales, packaging materials, and a handwritten drug price list. Police also found text messages in her phone discussing drug transactions. So now she faces at least 3 felony charges that could result in a long prison term. The aggregate maximum sentence would be 215 years behind bars and a $30,000 fine. Now, is she actually going to get that? When your daddy's a DEA agent, you got some connections, you know what I'm saying? So there's a chance she gets out of it. She already posted her bail, which was, I believe, $39,000 or thereabouts. So who knows if she's going to go down or not, but if I can address my comments for a second here to the father, to Bill Furay. Hey, buddy, now you see why it's fucked up that we have this drug war? Now, maybe there's a tiny percentage chance that this guy just really is a heartless prick, and he's like, lock her up, throw away the key even though it's my daughter. But I doubt that's what he's thinking. Because the reality is, what? Okay, so your daughter was selling some drugs. I don't give a shit. I mean, all of these drugs should be legal. All of them should be legal. That's not me saying that all of them are good for you. Of course not. But alcohol isn't good for you. I don't want that banned. Red Bull isn't good for you. I don't want that banned. There's a million and one things. Fucking roller coasters. You really trust those things with the lax regulatory environment we have? 2 screws loose in a roller coaster and you could all die. You know, that's not necessarily good for you, but hey, should we ban it because there were a few times where there were some accidents and people died? I don't agree with that way of thinking. And as Dr. Carl Hart says, who's an expert on addiction and drugs, 80 to 90% of all drug users are moderate users who go about their business, go to work, pick up their kids, do whatever they got to do, and they can still use drugs moderately, and it's no problem. And the tiny percentage of people who do run into struggles and have addiction and need to cope with that, okay, we'll treat it like a medical problem and let's help them as a society in every way we possibly can, as opposed to throwing people in jail and keeping them there and letting them rot there and ruining their lives because they dare to either take a substance that tweaks their consciousness or sells a substance that tweaks their consciousness. The problem is that it is illegal. That's the problem. Because if you legalize it, tax it, and regulate it, then you're not going to have people on the black market who are criminals, like your daughter, dealing with the product. You're going to have regular businessmen with suits and ties dealing with it, and they have fucking, you know, they have lobbyists, which I don't like, because I don't think anybody should have lobbyists, but it's just normal business in a normal climate. I mean, that's the solution to this. And perhaps Bill Furay can now see how he was acting horrifically before, and this is not just to blame him, it's the system that's the problem. And the fact that we have DEA agents who are just, did you sell something that people want to use? I'm going to crack down on that now, son. I'm going to lock you up. No, that's the problem. The problem is that. And now maybe that your daughter was caught up in this and is locked up as a result of it. You might second guess yourself and think, maybe this really isn't something that we should be locking people up for.